Well, what's a show unless we talk a little bit about Avengers Doomsday?
I don't know.
And we're not really going to talk about Avengers Doomsday per se, but there is a general consensus going around, of course, that once we get past Doomsday and once we get past Avengers Secret Wars, that Marvel is basically going to be cleaning house. We're going to get all new X-Men, probably get a whole bunch of new Avengers characters, a lot of the old guard. First of all, a lot of the old guard are already gone. Some of them have come back. They're all going to be gone and swept away, and it's a new era after Secret Wars. Well, maybe a bit, but maybe it's not as much as you think. Because according to a new interview with Chris Hemsworth and Kevin Feige are planning on Thor still being around after Avengers Doomsday and after Secret Wars. This comes to us from the folks over at IGN. Say, we've got some ideas. Chris Hemsworth confirms Thor future following Avengers Doomsday. And it writes this. He says this. It's been so much fun, Hemsworth said via the playlist, after confirming there were plans for him to return post-Doomsday more than once. Unlike a lot of what the other characters that the actors were given, they have had to be pretty consistent. Whereas working with Taika Waititi on his films versus Kenneth Branagh and those films, and then with the Russos, all the films had quite different sorts of tonal opinion, which basically, Thor was kind of a different character every time. You really got to see him change and evolve and be different. I was talking to Kevin Feige about it, and he said it's cool because the audience now expects dramatic turns with Thor. He continued, and this is the key part. And whatever we do next, we've got some ideas to do something pretty unique again and hopefully be different. So Chris Hemsworth confirming that him and Feige are already talking about what comes next with Thor, with him, and they're already starting to come up with some ideas. Look, I love Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I've loved him since the Kenneth Branagh. I think Kenneth Branagh's Thor is the second most underrated and underappreciated comic book film of all time. Number one, of course, being my boy Henry, and Man of Steel is the most underrated comic book film of all time. But number two, I honestly think is Kenneth Branagh's and Chris Hemsworth's first Thor movie. I really think it's tragically underrated. That being said, the thing I really like about this is the sense of continuity. Because I think one of the things, there are many issues that Marvel's had since 2019. But one of the big ones they've had to deal with is that they were in such a rush to introduce so many new characters so quickly without ever even really revisiting them again. Where's Shang-Chi 2, by the way? That to have characters like Thor still be there and have a presence in the universe, at least to some degree, still makes it feel like somewhat of a recognizable Marvel Cinematic Universe. And with the period of great change coming after Doomsday and after Secret Wars, the idea that they still may have some, dare I say, anchor beings still around, particularly somebody who's played the role as great as Thor has, or as great as Chris Hemsworth has, I really like the idea, and I love it a lot. Also, it might give us some insight about what will or will not happen to Thor in the upcoming Avengers Secret Wars. Anyway, Rob, you read this interview that Chris Hemsworth did. First of all, I think he's really astute pointing out the fact that I've got to play Thor in many different ways with different directors, and we're already coming up with new ways to play him after these Avengers films. What do you think about his comments and what's standing out to you the most?
Well, I think that, like you pointed out, I mean, these are characters that where a Thor was literally the second character introduced in the MCU, you know, and I think that people have loved his performances. And even when Thor is talking to Rocket Raccoon, you can get pathos and you can get real emotion. Look, I thought Thor Love and Thunder is that and Quantum Mania are a borderline unwatchable, unfortunately, because you don't want to see that. There's nothing in Love and Thunder that's fun because it's all a goof. You know, I mean, it's funny, but it's like, you know, after Ragnarok, where you had a lot of serious stuff go down, to double down on the silliness, I don't think served the universe or the character well. And just the clip that they've released from Doomsday, where you know that some big stuff is going to go down, he can bring, what Hemsworth does is bring a kingliness to Thor. I mean, I know he's a god, he's a thunder god, but like, if they wanted to make him king of the Asgardians or whatever, King Thor, and give him some kind of a House of the Dragon-esque storyline where he had to make difficult decisions, I'd watch that, you know, and I think seeing that clip shows you that they could go any direction with Thor and make it work, just like he points out himself. And whatever they do after Secret Wars, I mean, if they follow along, they consolidate the universe down to one universe, and there's a whole new generation of characters. And if they're going to keep the old school guys around, I think that's a good idea, you know, and do, I don't know what Asgard's going to look like. Is it going to stay on Earth? Is Midgard going to come back and then Asgard will be rebuilt somehow? I don't know. But I think
find a new world.
Yeah, whatever they do, I'm looking forward to it. But I do think it's smart to keep, because look at how smart it was to put Steve Rogers in and make him one of the focuses.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, you know, I think my favorite Thor movie, it's close between the original Thor, but is Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And the brilliance of Thor Ragnarok, and this is what I'm worried about a little bit moving forward. The brilliance of Thor Ragnarok, I thought, was that perfect balance in tone that Taika Waititi found. Like, you had some devastating, dark, serious stuff happen.
Yeah.
And it was juxtaposed against the lighthearted, jovial kind of stuff. And it was constantly going back and forth between it, and it was a perfect balance. The ultimate base problem with Thor Love and Thunder, and it had its moments.
Yeah.
But the main problem with it was they forgot that balance, and they swung the pendulum way too much to just the silly. My fear, I'm not saying they're going to do this, I'm just saying it was what I'd be worried about, is that they overcompensate, and instead of getting back to that balance that Thor Ragnarok had, swinging the pendulum way too far the other way and just having dour Thor. I hope they don't make that mistake and overcompensate. You know what I mean?
But he's never really been totally dour.
That's
like
true.
Even in the first movie, so there is a grandiosity that you have to embrace with the Thor character, because he doesn't take himself too seriously. I mean, he knows it's funny because, you know, and I think they're going to handle him correctly. And knowing the things we know about Doomsday, I really look forward to seeing Thor is portrayed in that film, because stuff's going to go down.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Factor. Cold days, packed schedules, and let's be honest, when February hits, staying on track with eating well gets tough. And that's why I love Factor. Factor makes eating healthy deliciously easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs, so you can eat well without the planning, shopping, or cooking. One of my main go-to meals lately is their high protein options. You're getting quality functional ingredients like lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole foods, and healthy fats. Plus, they have over 100 rotating weekly meals, including Calorie Smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, ready-to-eat salads, and even their new Muscle Pro collection for strength and recovery. Everything arrives fresh, never frozen, and is ready in about 2 minutes. All that and more is why I highly recommend Factor. Head to factormeals.com/Campea50off and use the code Campea50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan. One free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active. Anyway, guys, question is for you.
We're like moving on from that.
What do you think about this? Chris Hemsworth is basically saying him and Kevin Feige have already started talking about what do we do with Thor after these Avengers films. It sounds like he's going to be sticking around for a while. Whatever you guys take away from it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.